And that moment of the day, time for the moments, at least I don't want to say this is, it's Friday actually. It's a whole different affair. So no more current affairs or anything. It's about the industry. We discuss more of what is happening out here, more of what is giving our youths money, more of what is giving us money, you know, putting food on the table. But also we discuss deeply to understand why is it that some of these things do not work out well. And today we're all about the film industry. Yes, the film industry. I know for the film lovers, when this is mentioned, you know, you get some chills because film is life, you know, it gets into you, it gets deep into you, it gives life to other people who are not even interested in that. Because when you sit down to watch a nice film that has been well produced, content that speaks to you, it is indeed an amazing feeling. And that's all about entertainment, learning, you know, being informed out of all this content creation. We get so much. So we delve deep into understanding how much, you know, COVID has been of an impact to the film industry and what way forward. Joining me for the same is the director for Kiwo Films. He is called Gregory Kiwo, so he decided to name it after his name. Why, we do not know, but all the same, it's a film industry that is doing wonders. If you've not watched any of their movies, then I don't know what you're waiting for. We'll give you a snippet of the same as we proceed. Gregory, how are you? You well?
I'm fine, yes.
All right. Okay, yeah. So when we talk of the film industry, one, it looks like it's always a new venture in the country because we really haven't held grip. In as much as we have people trying so hard to get film be felt in the country, it's still just not working. Why do you suppose it's the case?
I think, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah.
I think, first of all, the reason why we don't, the impact of film hasn't been felt in Kenya, it's because we don't have a culture of going to the cinemas to consume our own content.
Yeah.
I don't know why is it as Kenyans we don't consume, you know, when it comes even to the music. We don't consume our own music. We're not proud of our own, you know, content.
You see, so the argument is that we probably do lots of mediocre. Yeah. We probably do not match up to what the rest of the world is doing. Yeah. Hence the reason why sometimes we're always out there in search for content from outside as opposed to content from inside.
I believe there are people who are making an impact in terms of just putting work into what they are doing, just investing. You find people are investing in their craft.
Right.
Like for the film industry, we have people who are tightening grips in terms of storytelling. People are going back telling our own stories. Like we have people who are trying to create content that can reach the masses out there in a different way. Let's say, for example, we have people who are consuming, like the Kenyan market consumes international movies. Yeah. But if you were to take the same template in terms of the movies they're watching, like we have Game of Thrones and the CSI.
Right.
If you were to take like a CSI template and make it into a Kenyan template, someone would still come and watch. As we were speaking before, I said the only best thing which came out in terms of an action series then was Cobra Squad.
Right.
Why don't we go back and do another Cobra Squad in this time and era? So there is a market for our own stories, and it's just to create that culture where people can go to the cinemas, watch and consume our content, and also TV-wise. They said like the local stations should create a place whereby they consume 60% of our content, but we are not even at 5 or 10% at the moment. We still have more of the, you know, Mexican telenovelas still airing, which is okay, but I think we should like be proud of our own. Yeah.
All right, now that we have you, I think it's important we start by asking where you started from, but not before we again expound on this. And really, we say that probably there's that need to make it, you know, localized to that field of the people. What do you say when you look at, you know, something like DJ Afro? Well, we cannot help but discuss some of these things. You know what? He takes content that is not local, you know, content from the other side, and, you know, in a way, tunes it to the local market. I mean, why is it that people have so much interest in the same in comparison to what we squarely produce?
I believe for like DJ Afro, you said, he he has found a way of the language. Film is a language.
Yeah.
So he's taken that international content and made it local, in that when you watch it, in terms of the effects he used, the language he used, you can relate to that.
It's more of the language, honestly speaking.
Yes.
And my question then would be, is there something that the international scene is doing, the people outside are doing, that we are not doing?
For the international market, what they have better, I can say they have better equipment.
Yeah.
They have larger budgets than we do. For us, we have smaller budgets.
What stops us from having larger budgets and good equipment? What really?
For the film industry, people haven't taken it as a business yet.
Okay.
We're still in that growing stage where we're trying to understand which direction to go.
Right.
So let's say, for example, even in terms of the sets we use, if you were to watch a film where it's showing people who are rich, people who are living that life, and as we try to do the same movie with people who are rich and living, that life, you find like we fall short. Because in terms of, the props, the housing, the look, the costumes, the everything. So it runs back to budget. We don't have also investors. Investors don't know how to get back their money, their investment. If they invest in a film, how do you get back your money? Is it from people who will come and watch the movies? And as I said, we don't have a culture where people go to the cinemas. Is it by selling the movies internationally? Where do you get these platforms whereby you sell your movies to the international market?
Yeah.
So again, marketing. We don't know how to market our films outside there. Netflix has come, it's opened up. I think we have the first movie going on Netflix.
Yeah.
We had The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, which had the Kenyan cast. And now we are having Poacher, which is coming up end of this month, 30th. So that's a Kenyan movie done here.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting just to see how we'll grow from now on going forward.
And much as we say that maybe we've not invested as much, you find that, the 2-3 that have found their way into the international market have highly been celebrated on the other end, as opposed to how they've been celebrated at home. Is it a scenario of where you say, yes, a prophet is rejected in their own home?
Exactly. That's the scenario at the moment.
What does it speak?
It's a mindset we have to change. And for a film like Checkmate, when we've done it, the issues that we're addressing payment, like people to be paid on time. We're addressing sex couch casting, whereby exchange for a role. We're addressing colorism, whereby we have people who have lighter shades of color are being casted more than people who have, a darker in skin tone. So Checkmate is a language to change the industry thinking at the moment, whereby we want more people to come and consume our content, to say, hey, these are our stories, come check us out, watch, like, subscribe to our channels, push us, support us so that we can grow, and also just push our content out there so that we can be noticed.
All right, I have watched Checkmate,
Yes.
and honestly, I was like, wow, yes, this is exactly it. This is exactly what happens down there.
Yeah.
And it's very unfortunate to watch. It is heartbreaking to watch, but it's a reality on ground. But then again, you come to this other side and ask yourself, what really could be informing all this that is happening within? The fact that, yes, colorism is there. The fact that, yes, some of these artists would go out there and pull their best, act, and ensure that they give you the best, but still they do not get value for what it is that they have given. Yes. And sometimes you try and act the devil's advocate. Yes. You are a director.
Yes.
You are the, owner of or the brain behind QO Films. I mean, do you genuinely feel that sometimes some of these things happen because we are just reckless, or sometimes you are compelled to do that as a person who's interested in film and you'd want to see, a clip coming out there, but yes, again, you are running on low budgets.
Yes.
I mean, don't you think that sometimes you'd end up getting your actors and actresses on an empty belly, but not because you want to?
The approach to this would be one. First of all, we'll go back to, film has been there. When you get into, for me, I'm a product of mentorship. So when I got in, there's some things which I've been taught and which I've kept, and I've learned other new things.
Right.
So in terms of the structure at the moment, as the Kenya film industry, we lack a few structures here and there, which are unions, which are groups which cater to, let's say, if you're not get paid, where do you go to? If crew, you have a problem, where do you take your what can I say? Where do you take your grievances and stuff like that? So we lack that structure. First of all, the template, the foundation, we don't have that.
So who is to fix this foundation?
Now that is us.
Right.
You have to do away and start afresh. So in terms of you found things which have been happening. So you have these problems which are there in the film industry.
Yeah.
And now what we're trying to do is to correct them so that we have a new structure. We have a different language which we are creating in terms of how we're moving forward as an industry. COVID happened and it stopped everything. Like everything just stopped.
Right.
Now since things are starting to go back, how do we now create a place whereby things are moving in the right direction? It's by creating this new dialogue whereby we're addressing these problems.
Right.
How do we stop people being paid late? How do we stop couch casting? How do we stop colorism? So me personally, as a director who did this content and shot it, is trying to address these issues and say, like, can we stop this? Can we change this? So it's creating a new template for the new filmmakers who are coming into the industry. It's creating a new template for the people who are already in the industry, telling them, look at this.
Right.
Can we change this?
There's some feel of cartelism. Sorry to cut you short. There's some feel of cartelism in almost all sectors. You know, almost all sectors of an industry, and that I'm sure is also within the film industry. Did you think then that you'll have pinched them, and probably this would cost you? Haven't you had some of fellow directors, coming to you and telling you, Nachoma?
They have already. It's already done, and I feel it's good because that shows that the film has had an impact. People have related to the content matter. The feedback has been good. Some of it has been bad. But I feel since there is that, film should be provocative. Film should create a dialogue. It should make you feel a certain feeling and emotion. And since this film has done that, I feel for the cartels, the gatekeepers, since they felt it, it's time for change. And for the people who've come and, they've seen that, now they know better. It's out there.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about these bodies that are there that guide the film industry. Kenya Film Classification Board. We have the likes of Kenya Films Commission. We have the copyright bodies and all that. Are they putting up enough effort towards making the changes? I mean, since the time that most of these bodies were put into were incepted, or since the inception of some of these key and crucial bodies?
I feel it's been a half and half.
Yeah.
It's been slow before. But funny thing, after COVID, like what Kenya Film Commission has done, they've given out money, more like grants.
Right.
So you have different companies at the moment who have received money to do films, which is catered to growing content. So these films will be done in different counties, like Embu, Taita Taveta, Kisumu. I feel that's a plus for the industry, and they are doing well in this time. With also the new board members who joined recently, they're listening.
Right.
They're listening, and they're changing things at the moment, which is good.
Right.
So if we continue like that, I feel there'll be a bigger impact, and the industry will grow more.
Just how many of the people in the industry are aware of the availability of some of these grants, and how fair is the sharing process, so that every other filmmaker would feel like, yes, they have been represented?
Very, very few, I can say sadly, very few. Even there was a time the president announced during COVID there was money. First it was 200 million and then 100 million. The money was dispersed to the actors, the people who are in the entertainment industry. Some of them haven't gotten this money. Some got it through joining into phone competitions and stuff. But not so many people are aware of even the rights, even on how to access funds, or how to move forward. If you want to do a film, where do I go to get funding? This body is giving out money to fund films.
And so just how easy is it? That's unfortunate. And how easy is it for someone to say, okay, yes, I'm going to be a filmmaker and I'll be able to make this film? I mean, what procedures are there that probably you would feel need to be loosened up so at least access is easy and, you know, doing this would be easy for the filmmakers, or it's just a smooth ride? Okay, that tells me it's not a smooth ride at all.
Yes, it's hard being us.
Yeah.
It's sad that in the film industry we're the only people who get paid late after delivering the goods or whatever you are to deliver. Right now, if you are to do a series, you'd first go and do the series, bring it to whoever is buying it, the producer, the TV house, and then you'd wait for another month, 2 months, 3 months to get paid. So it means all the time, as a person who's working in the film industry as crew or cast, you always run into a deficit whereby you're lacking. So you have to borrow, you're borrowing from friends, from family, you're always living on debt.
Yeah.
So by the time after 2 months, 3 months, when you're getting your first share from a project which you did, may say in January, and you're being paid in August, you've borrowed so much money, by the time your next project comes, you're also borrowing in order to sustain yourself. Yeah. So it's really difficult just being in our industry, but at the same time we have people like me who are passionately driven. We love the artwork.
And let's talk about you now. Where did you come from, or where did you start, and what makes you keep going? Is this just all about passion when you see that yes, Hollywood, Bollywood, all these other places, Nollywood, I mean, there's so much that these people are reaping from the film industry. So to even imagine that you're not getting the same, don't you think it's unfair? Doesn't it make you wake up and say, you know what, over and done, I don't think I need to do this?
For me, my journey is very interesting. I was supposed to be a pilot. That was my career path.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So I had a friend called Ken Bahati who talked to me and he said, you're supposed to be, in journalism, you're supposed to be on TV. So like, interesting. So I enrolled myself in a film school to do journalism. Okay. But after I finished, I found like I didn't know how to get, on TV. So I struggled for a while. I'm a product of mentorship. Okay. So someone just took a risk in me. His name is Alfleti Mgendi. He's one of my first mentors who started a show called Tabasamu. Right. I was trained on set from slating, you have boom operating, you have lighting, you have camera operation, and then I settled on lighting. The lighting people are known as gaffers because we light the set, we make sure you're well lit.
So you actually marched in here and the first thing you're like, oh, the lighting. I was like, oh, I've been here, I have no idea what this is. But anyway, yeah.
So professionally, I'm a gaffer, and it's natural for most gaffers to go into camera operating because now you understand the dynamics of how lights work. Because when you tell a story, you tell it through light. Yeah. Some people don't know this, but light
it's crucial.
It's crucial. Without light, you cannot see. That's how you should put it. So even if, for example, you had to do a film timepiece, light would dictate when the period is. If you have films in the 60s, the 50s, you see they use candlelight. Right. They use torches. Game of Thrones is Game of Thrones because they have the way of lighting. If you're to do a sci-fi, the lighting changes. It's futuristic.
Okay.
If you have a comedy, it's it's light. It's how do I say? It's fun. Yeah. It's happy. So I got to understand lighting, and I've been doing it for over 7 years. Okay. So right now and then I changed. Now I'm now intersecting to do more of camera work, DOP camera operations, and also in this journey of mine, I'm always mentoring other people. Right. Because being a product of mentorship from that guy called Alfleti, if he didn't take a risk in just looking at me and giving me that opportunity and saying, I can see something in you, and just keep going at it. And other people like Wafula, Odhiambo, and Chris Royo, all those people took time and effort to put the skill in me and me now to grow to be where I am. Right. I can say I would have stopped somewhere in between, but since now I know what I'm capable of doing, that's what keeps me going and also keeps me mentoring other people who are coming up. Because if you see someone doing something and you're like, oh, you're doing it wrong, criticizing other people's work, why don't you show them how to do it right? So for me, I'm driven to impart skill and show people how it is done the way I was taught. So I wake up every morning and I'm like, I eat, drink, pray, film. That's what I do.
Ooh.
I can say I'm 100%
You're 100% film.
Yes.
All right, we can only wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
Yes, I mean, like I said, from what I've seen,
yes.
that's pretty much a content that is indeed has a great, future.
Yes.
And speaking of the market, you say that sometimes when you work on your film and boom, it's somewhere in the shelf.
Yes.
It is waiting for that buyer.
Yeah.
It is waiting for that person who's going to be willing to appreciate what has been put into it. Sometimes, you're forced to say low because then you've had it on the shelf for the longest of time and nobody has taken it, and now you have to sell it lower than actually what you used
to put in.
To put it up. So let's talk about the market.
Yeah.
And the difficulties that come along with it right here in the country.
Yeah.
And the efforts that are being put towards penetrating the international market.
Wow.
Yes.
At the moment, in terms of where would you sell your content if you did content, I like the fact like YouTube, it's a free-to-air platform.
Right.
So you do something, put it on, like Checkmate is on YouTube. You can go consume it. So your money, how do you make your money back? Maybe you would make it back from the adverts. People would come to advertise on your platform.
On your platform, yeah.
So that's how you'd make money, but it's very little. The other place you would make money is if you took your film to a cinema, like viewing. And as I said before, people in Kenya don't have a culture of going to the cinemas.
Yeah.
So the few people who come, paying that entrance money, that's where you'd get some money. The other way you'd make money in terms of just marketing is like product placement. If you would get people who would want to advertise their products on your film, that would generate some small income.
Yeah.
The other good thing again at the moment is we have free-to-air VOD platforms, which are popping up here and there. And they're putting up our content in order for people to come and pay and consume it and then come back and pay us. But you find also the monies are very small.
Right.
So the footprint is there. It's not big yet. It's small.
The future is bright.
The future is bright where we're going as a film industry. If we do continue pushing and doing things, constantly in a way that would grow our film industry. In terms of the international market, there are market sessions which are being organized by KFC board and a few individuals here and there, whereby you go set up a stall maybe during the film festivals.
Right.
So you get to showcase what Kenya has to offer as a film industry. So you find that's a good way. And also just doing short films and putting them out and putting them in also the international film competitions also makes people to be aware, like there are stories to be told in Kenya.
Right.
You have the people who are in Hollywood or other international film markets who are coming to do films in Kenya.
Country,
Kenya has a potential of getting money in that we get to advertise where to shoot, like our, let's say, tourism, can we say tourism destinations here, there? So you can we have very nice, unique locations to shoot.
Yeah.
So if the KFC or other tourism boards can advertise this outside and say, hey, you can come film in these places. You can come film at the park. You can come film at a certain, monument, which is, we hold it, dear to us. You can come shoot in Malindi, in, Gede ruins or something. That would put us out there so that more people would come and invest and get to showcase Kenya. Yes.
Well, that's amazing. And as we speak of the market, it's hard not to look at the piracy aspect, the copyright issues. I think they're not more of a burden in this time and era in comparison to what was there back then, or what do you say?
I would say we're still, they're a bit, it's a 50-50.
Okay.
Right now, for even my film personally, when I talk about my film, the thing I struggle most was to get music for it. So most of the music, people who are composing music, they're very few.
Yeah.
And also for the artists who are there, they're not open to the idea of you using their music on your movies.
Yeah.
So you'd go to look for music online. So in terms of copyright, you'd get if you don't look properly for copyright-free music, you'd find like you're infringing on other people's copyrights.
Okay.
In terms of the music you've used. In terms of content matter, that's I can say, since you're creating the ideas like mirror each other.
Yeah.
You cannot come up with an idea and say, this is exclusively my idea.
Okay.
You'd find you're either borrowing from something you saw or your own life experience. Like if you watch Checkmate, everyone would be like, I've been in this situation somehow. Yeah, this looks like me. This looks like me. So it's only, an idea is not yours entirely. Right. Other people are thinking of it. So sometimes you'd come out with an idea and someone would be like, oh, that's my idea. You know, someone has stolen my idea. There are a lot of those. But it's a free market.
All right, it's a free market, but not as free for the actors and actresses out there. They will tell you it's a hassle to even get a role.
Yes.
Even a 1 minute role is a hassle to get. And I mean, the veterans will always get automatic. You know, someone stands there and you got it already. Yes. Well, there's still, you know, talent out here that needs to be nurtured. So, I mean, what is being done to incorporate this new talent?
For us, we are looking to work with new actors who are coming into the film industry. So you're taking like a risk in the new people who are coming. We need new faces on TV. The thing which I've seen, like personally, there are a lot of young people who are available for roles, which are between, let's say, 18 to around 20, late 30s, or 35. And then you find now you jump to guys who are in their 50s, 60s, going to the older generation. So there's a gap whereby right now we don't have the mature older actors, because we find like most of this older generation prefer being in a constant job whereby you have a monthly payment other than being in the hustle of whereby you're waiting to be paid. Right. So you find there are no more older generation actors. I don't know if I'm making sense.
You're making so much
than
sense,
the young ones. So you find if you want a 17-year-old and 18-year-old, you can easily get a 20, 25, 27-year-old, you'll get them. But now the mature generation. Right now, if I wanted to cast an old man in his 70s, it would be a hassle to get that person.
Unless now you again use the very same
the young people, now you make them old through makeup and stuff, which is a lot of work.
I understand.
So we need to get more people into the film industry and let them know that this is business. You know, it's a multi-billion industry like Nigeria. They're making good money out of it.
So much money.
So convincing, you know, people like young generation, the young actors to come into this is easier. Now for the older generation, it's the heartbeat. Those are the people we need at the moment.
Right.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, I think you've heard that. Yes. And before we take a snippet of a Checkmate, COVID-19, I mean, it's hard not to discuss COVID-19 at this point and the impact that it would have, you know, the long-term impact for that. So how have you prepared yourself as Kiwo? And importantly, how has this impacted? I mean, like you said, I am a lover of going to the cinemas, but sadly enough, no more cinemas.
No more cinemas.
So,
I can say COVID has been bad and good at the same time, because it has taught people to behave differently. You have adapted. People have developed new skills. You know, being home for months on end, it drives you crazy. Even like Checkmate is a product of being in that situation whereby you've been home and again thinking about people who have your money. You know, you're like, someone out there has my money. So for me, COVID has made me, I'm good. My forte is lighting. I'm a two-time award winner for lighting.
Nice, congratulations.
I'm best at lighting. So growing into camera has been something I've been looking forward to, and I've been working towards that. But now directing, that changed. So for our personal experience in terms of Checkmate, we had to be less people on set. Because on set you need people who you have the camera assistant, the makeup has the assistant, the boom person has the assistant. So you have a department, let's say like 20 people on set doing different jobs, and then you have the cast also. So for Checkmate I had to scale it down to go with the rules whereby we had to be a maximum of 15 people on set.
Yeah.
Look at things like social distancing. How do you social distance on set?
All right.
For actors, like you have people who are, let's say, for example, making out.
Yeah.
How do you do that with COVID? It's really hard. So film is about touch. So I had to have less people. I had a crew of 5 people. So people were doing two jobs, some 3.
Yeah.
So they had to double up in departments.
Yeah.
So it has taught people to be skillful.
Right.
We learn a different skill. In terms of now also COVID happening, there's been a lot of content being created. If you look right now at the movies coming out all the time, like just from Kenya, the short films, people have done a lot of short films during this time. So it says a lot.
Okay.
It says a lot. Yeah, it speaks for itself.
It's a 50-50 affair, and it depends on how you look at it.
Yes.
All right, let's. Congratulations for the great work. Yes, we keep soldiering on. Who would ever imagine that there would be an outright market like YouTube where you'd put your content and get money?
Yes.
If people decided to give up, then, what would it be? So it means that the future is bright, and amidst all these tough times, we keep soldiering on. Gregory Kiwo, director, Kiwo Films, thank you so much for the great insights. Your parting shots to the people who would want to venture into the industry and are like ish as we wind up.
I would say they should not shy away from joining the film industry. They should come, we build this industry, because they say it's a multi-billionaire industry. So it's only a matter of time we get there, whereby we're churning out more content, people are consuming more of our content. And maybe, you never know, by next year we'll have so many Kenyan films and we'll be mirroring the Nigerian market, the Ugandan, the Hollywood market. So we keep on pushing. Guys should not give up. And if you're coming into this just industry, you should take time and ask yourself, why are you coming into the industry? Are you coming to change the dialogue which is still there? Are you coming to flip it on its belly, in that you're bringing in new content, new light, new way of creating, a new way of, So I can say we keep on pushing, doing things, building our industry, being proud of our own. Yes.
All right. Yes, buy Kenya, build Kenya,
yes,
as they would rightfully put it. Thank you so much once again. Thank you so much
yes,
for being part and parcel of this session. It's now time that we cross over to a different session altogether. Jumar on standby with sports, and later on Matters Entertainment with